Dead in that February 2010 wreck that led to the conviction of polo mogul John Goodman, who was sentenced to 16 years for DUI manslaughter. I'm with the woman who prosecuted successfully John Goodman, Ellen Roberts, and our News Channel 5 legal analyst, Michelle Suskauer. First, you, Ms. Roberts, your reaction to the news today.
Well, I'm extremely disappointed. I certainly understand the ruling. I haven't had an opportunity to read the order, but I understand the ruling, and I say that the only thing that gives me some consolation is the fact that the state didn't do anything wrong.
Was this a juror, Dennis DeMartin? Hindsight's very easy now that you look back and say there were enough red flags about him that we should have said, wait a minute, this guy, something doesn't seem right in jury selection, which I know is part gut, part research by prosecutors and defense. Your reaction first, then you, Michelle Suskauer.
I mean, he appeared a little talkative, but I mean, there wasn't certainly anything that flashed in front that he was going to behave the way he did, that's for sure.
Michelle?
I mean, I think that was really the point, that if he did exhibit those types of behaviors, if he did actually disclose the things that he kept concealed, certainly the defense would have gotten him off the jury, and probably the state as well.
You spoke forcefully a little earlier in our broadcast that the jury system, of course, is at the heart of our legal system, and there couldn't be any other decision in your mind, Michelle Suskauer, but this. Explain that to our audience.
Well, we certainly, as trial lawyers, we rely on jurors who are not going to prejudge the case, who are not coming in with an agenda, who are going to give everyone, despite whatever they're charged with, whether it's a criminal case, a civil case, a fair trial. And in this particular case, I mean, and the judge felt very strongly and really worded in his order that the system was really corrupted by someone who did not take their oath seriously.
That is vitally important to our system. There are going to be those, and I put this to both of you, we're going to see this and say, we just heard what the lawyer for the family said, that yes, we had a juror who may have had ulterior motives, but the evidence was so overwhelming here, and this family has to go through it again. It's unfair. Michelle?
Well, sir, it's absolutely, and it's unfair that anybody has to go through this again. But certainly, this is not saying that John Goodman is not guilty. It's about the process itself. That's what this is, and this juror really just corrupted this process.
Do you agree with that, Ellen?
You know, I agree with that. He certainly abused it. I think the man is extremely confused. And I think most importantly, the hardest thing for a parent to do is bury a child.
How angry are you with Dennis DeMartin? Candidly?
You probably don't want to know.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do want to know. How angry are you with him as a prosecutor who tried this case, got a conviction, now sees it all going back to trial?
I'd like 5 minutes with him.
To say and do what?
Well,
she may not want to say that on television.
No, I can't say that on TV.
Well, no, but candidly.
I'm extremely angry, and I don't know whether. To be honest with you, I don't know whether he's in his right mind. I mean, he said that he divorced his wife because she got a DUI and was a drunk. But that was years, he divorced her before she got the DUI.
And you were very blunt with me a few weeks ago. You said, listen, this is somebody who's wealthy, could afford the best lawyers. If it was any other case, they would have gone to the public defender and we would have had somebody plead out on this. But that's really, in your mind, something that I want to hear you talk to the audience about, and then your reaction to that.
Well, I know I've worked long enough with the public defender's office that they know when the state has an outstanding case.
And you thought you did?
Absolutely.
You think you could go back and get a conviction again today?
Most assuredly. The public defender would have come to me and realized that and said, hey, what can we work out? He's really remorseful. Let's sit down with the family and let's try to work this out. That was never done in this case, you know.
Well, I can't speak to that because I didn't represent John Goodman, but certainly as a defense lawyer, you're always trying to, certainly if the evidence is very, very strong, you're trying to sit down with the state to see if it could be worked out. But the point is, we don't know what a jury, an uncorrupted jury would do with this particular case because we didn't have that here.
Bottom line, how big a miscarriage of justice in both of your minds? And I understand just before we went on air, you had some late breaking news that the judge is so upset with Dennis DeMartin, he's going to ask him to prove why he shouldn't be held in contempt. Talk about that, both of you, and your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are that I just saw the order from the court, and it's order to show cause on Mr. DeMartin, which I had asked for all along.
Should he be held in contempt in your mind?
He certainly should.
And go to jail?
He certainly should. 5 months and 29 days.
I think he's going to be hard-pressed not to be held in contempt here, given his material omissions, and the judge is ordering that he get an attorney and appear in court on the 30th of May.
That news just coming to us. Ellen Roberts, you said to me if the Wilson family would allow it, if the state prosecutor would allow it, you'd be willing to retry this case if it came to that. Do you still stand by that?
Yes, if Mr. Wilson wants me to, then, and Mr. Ehrenberg, Dave Ehrenberg, agrees to it, then I certainly will.
Ellen Roberts, the prosecutor in the case, now retired, at least for the moment. Michelle Suskauer, our News Channel 5 legal analyst. More from both of you in a moment. Thank you for joining us with your perspectives. We also